Hello, welcome to Chopcast. This is episode number 2 of off-season. Episode number 18 in total, or whatever it is. You got it. So Hot Stove started a lot sooner than I thought it would. And there's been some bigger names already signed, but we want to get to a lot, but with the time that we have, we're just gonna mainly talk about the one bigger move that the Braves made recently, and then just some random free agent targets that we've kind of thought of, or would maybe and then move into the top 10 of a top 25 free agents article that the was posted on the MLB website recently. And then hopefully soon have our predictions for the top 25 remaining in WAR on our Instagram. But yeah, so main signing that the Braves had recently, which was somewhat surprising, was Manny Piña from the Brewers. 2 years, $8 million, and then there's $4 million option for the third year. What'd y'all think about that?
I really liked it. I will say I was kind of surprised. I was surprised by it because I really thought they were gonna start to develop Contreras a little more. But I think it's obvious that he probably needs a little more time in AAA. And then obviously we have Shea in the minors as well. But I like it. I mean, he's got a good he's got a good wins above replacement and has shown that he can perform. And if we've seen anything, Travis needs days off and could be injury prone. So I like it a lot. Also, to avoid another Kevin Smith situation,
Yeah.
literally, I will take that any day of the year.
Will.
Yeah, I think it was a great move. He's a pretty good, strong defensive catcher. I will say one thing. I think the biggest benefit of it is that developing catchers takes a long, long time, and the big reason for that is they have to learn how to work with pitchers too, so they have more to do. So that's why you see a lot of younger catchers take time. So I think it's great for Contreras and Langoliers, excuse me, yeah. In their development, so they're not being rushed. So
Yeah, no, I agree. I was really excited when I saw the signing. So before that had happened, I was planning on talking a little bit in the last episode. I kind of saw Kurt Casale as kind of a dark horse as our getting an extra catcher on our bench, because he has it's supposedly around 2.3 million club option for his arbitration with the Giants, who signed him for 1 million. So I didn't think they were going to take that. And he's left-handed, right? Will?
Kurt Casale, he's right.
He's right. And his whole purpose is hitting left-handers, right?
Yeah, you can do that.
Okay. But yeah, Piña was a big step up from Casale, I think. He only played in about 75 games this year, which, I mean, for a backup catcher is actually a good bit.
Yeah.
And had a 2.1 WAR, 13 home runs, which was the most he's had in his career. But yeah, I remember looking at the free agent catchers. He had the highest WAR of any free agent catcher, which was not saying much, because free agent catcher market is pretty bad. I would have figured that Yan Gomes had a better WAR than he did, but he was sitting at 1.5. But yeah, I really like it. It's a really cheap move. That isn't I mean, $4 million a year is basically $5 for Liberty Media is is a lot. But it's pretty much play money and getting quality depth instead of, like you said, having to sign Kevin Smith and people like him throughout the season, and having a rotation of 7 catchers throughout the year is not what we want to do again. And yeah, there are some people telling me the same thing. They're like, have we given up on Contreras? Like, no, obviously not.
Nowadays, yeah.
Like
He'll have a time.
he has very clearly shown that he's very good with the bat, especially. But like Will was saying, the main thing that he needs to be developed in is calling games. That's his weaker side, and he's not terrible defensively. He's supposed to be much worse than he actually was when he was starting for us for a while. It ended up being his bat, which was the main problem. But yeah, he needs some more experience on how to work with pitchers in the minors. And I mean, he only had 60 games of experience in Double-A before he went to the majors in 2020, and that was all he had because there wasn't a minor league in 2020. Yeah, and then the same thing for Langoliers, give him that same amount of time. I think that's perfect because it's a Trav's on 2 years, Piña's on 2, and you can still bring any guy up we need and sign somebody for depth if we have to again. But that time period I think is really good for Langoliers and Contreras to come up at about the same time and kind of fight for everyday starter.
I think there's probably I would imagine they're going to keep Contreras down there, who I understand is, my understanding is closer to the major league level. I think he's going to be in the minors for the entirety of this year and then possibly some of next year, just because 23 for a catcher is really, really young. I mean, Joey Bart is one of the best in a while. I think he just got called up and he's 25. So it's nothing abnormal for that to happen. The only one that I can think of that's going to be called up when he's 21 is Adley Rutschman. He's the best in baseball right now. So he really should not be rushed whatsoever.
Yeah. I haven't seen a lot of negative response to this signing because, one, it's just so cheap. If we had signed him for an $8 million 1 year or anything more than really 6 or 7, I would have been a little more kind of angry or whatever. But I thought it was pretty good. I had one. The only comment that I got on the post about him joining Atlanta was somebody who just put no, please no, and crying emoji, and then so I thought I commented on it ? But I accidentally DM'd them that and they never responded. But I don't know. Maybe they're thinking that they're replacing Travis or something. No clue. But I don't know who would think that was a big miss. I mean, only time will tell for that. Yeah, in terms of some free agent guys or maybe guys off arbitration that I've kind of thought of, I don't feel I mean, obviously we will be signing some position players, but it's kind of a more, hopefully, limited scope of that, and I mean, we've already talked about them in the last episode, with Soler and Jock and Eddie and Duvall and Freddie. So I don't really think we'll do much position player signing other than that. But I think the main needs are in the bullpen, and I don't really think we have a need in the starting rotation necessarily, but it would be pretty nice. Alright, we just had some audio issues there, but yeah, back to just kind of some free agent guys that we'd be thinking of, mainly in the bullpen, and then some guys also to maybe fill in 3, 4, 5 hole in the rotation. So some of the relievers I thought of, in terms of higher profile that are available, the main one I saw, or main ones I saw were Kendall Graveman and Aaron Loop. And then I guess you could also kind of include Corey Knable and Andrew Chafin in there. And then some wild cards that I had were Kyle Crick of the Pirates, and I know we've discussed to never sign anyone from the Pirates already, Will, but and then so one I'd find fairly interesting is Kirby Yates, because he was injured for all of last year, and no one's really talking about him. So I feel like he could be a pretty low risk, high reward signing for if we did it for not too much. But what would y'all think about how likely do you think it would be to sign somebody like Kendall Graveman?
Go ahead, Sam.
Well, yeah, I mean, I just think it kind of depends on what we shell out for the Rosario Soler Duval trio if we sign two of them. Because I don't think fortunately we're in a very good position right now where we're gonna retain most of our lineup. We're gonna have to pay Freddie a fuck ton. That's another issue. But at the moment, I mean, I kind of put together a list of our potential bullpen at the moment. I'll just read that. It's going to be Will Smith, Luke Jackson, Tyler Matzik, AJ Minter. Hopefully, I want us to re-sign Jesse Chavez because that's another low risk, high reward, and he was kind of a guy that pulled us through a lot of he was a good 2-3 inning pitcher. Jacob Webb potentially, Dylan Lee and Spencer Strider. Obviously, those last few names are kind of iffy, but they're serviceable. My potential signings, the ones that I want, obviously in a perfect world, we get these, are Adam Ottavino, Andrew Chafin, and Brad Boxberger. So I kind of agree. I want us to get a high-profile dude. I mean, our bullpen is good at the moment, but I could totally see guys like Dylan Lee and Spencer Strider getting sent back down. I don't know. We'll see. What do you think, Will?
Yeah, I think it's dependent on a lot of factors. I think answering your initial question, Griffin, on Graveman, I think it's pretty unlikely just because, I think the Astros are going to shell out a lot of money to that guy. I'll get into reasons later on, and I just think they're losing more and more of their core as the years go on. And then, honestly, I'm a big I think Boxberger is great, but I'm also a big fan of Corey Knable. I always mispronounce his name, but I mean, the dude just throws frisbees. I mean, they're just ridiculous. I don't know how realistic that is either. I will say, one thing that concerns me, and you two may want to correct me, is one spot in the starting rotation, just because the big elephant in the room for me, at least, as someone who doesn't watch every single Braves game, is I don't think Mike Soroka is ever going to be the same he was. I think that Mike Soroka is pretty much gone, which is pretty sad. I mean, he doesn't deserve it whatsoever. I mean, it's really tragic. I think he's going to be a low risk, when you're losing or winning by 10 type reliever. I think that's his spot now. You just can't suffer those kind of injuries and be the same. So that's a pretty big hole. So in terms of that, I was looking at Brett Anderson, actually, who is a lefty for the Brewers. I mean, just a very solid, be pretty good in the back half of the rotation. But yeah.
Yeah, I think that would be a pretty solid addition. Honestly, when I'm thinking about the starting rotation for next year, I have literally forgotten about Mike Soroka. I'm not counting him out for sure. I'm much more hopeful about him, like at least being able to be solid. I don't know if he'll ever be like an ERA in the 2 like he had been, but I think he could be pretty solid for us. It's just have to see what ends up happening. It is pretty abysmal to tear your Achilles twice.
In his plantar foot too, like when he like plants on him, it's pretty tough.
Yeah.
And then Sam, what you said about the bullpen, I don't consider Dylan Lee and Spencer Strider really part of the starting bullpen for us, mainly because Spencer went from
he went from like high A to
he went from low A. He went from low
He
A
went
to
from
high A
low
to
A.
double A to triple A to MLB all in 1 year.
That's insane.
So I think he needs a little more time.
Yeah, that's understandable. I kind of made my list with a little bit of World Series hindsight, but yeah, I just thought I would throw it out there, just kind of like set where our bullpen's going to be potentially. It kind of opens up probably 2 to 3 spots to maybe make re-signings or kind of assess who's going to be there in the first place. You can also see guys like Tukey and like Kyle Muller filling in. Yeah, honestly, I think the first big.
I'm done with Tukey. I think. Sam, you cutting out again? You shake your head. Yeah, again, I think I'm done with Tukey. I don't know. I'm fine with him being like an innings eater reliever at this point, but I don't see him as a starter ever again. He's gotten so many chances. I think more than likely, I mean, we're only going to start him if we absolutely have to, and I don't want us to plan for that. I think that after this year is over, I think he's either going to be like an innings eater type reliever for us, just kind of rotting in AAA, or have been traded for whatever we need halfway through the season. It's just been so long for him to get this. It's almost like Sean Newcomb in a way, where he's had so much time and he's had so much potential, but at least with Sean, he kind of had an upside, like turned it around towards the end of the year. Tukey had 2 good games and then returned to his old form. But yeah. Yeah, long story short, I think that Tukey's done in terms of big position. I will say, so I don't have very much fear about our rotation just because of what we were able to do last year and how many arms we have that are capable of stepping up and being really good really soon. Because you already have Charlie and Freed and Ian Anderson, which are all pretty. I mean, they all have their cases of being an ace in different regards. So you have those guys, and then 4 or 5 with the people that we have right now. I don't want Smiley back. That's kind of a given at this point. But you have people like Kyle Muller and Tucker Davidson, which Tucker didn't look good in Game 5, but he had also not pitched in a game for like 2 months. And his first one back was against the best offense in the league in the World Series. I can't really blame him for that. He looked pretty good until he got injured.
Yeah.
And then Kyle Muller, honestly, was looking like one of our best pitchers for a little while. And he kind of slumped towards the end, but I think he can come back pretty strong next year, especially as like a 5 starter. And then forgetting about Inoa, who was our best pitcher for like the first half of the season last year. Obviously kind of fell apart at the end after he got injured, but I think he'll be able to turn it around. So
I think he will too. I think the offseason will be good for him. Like, he's just got to recenter and refocus.
yeah. So I mean, you have 4 guys already, including him, that could make a case of being an ace at some point in the season. You really just got to make that 5th spot a little bit comfortable, and I really feel like Muller, the kind of tag team of Muller and Davidson, and then even Kyle Wright started showing, like in the World Series, that maybe he's figured stuff out. I mean,
yeah, that's a tricky name in Braves country, but
yeah,
hopefully.
at least it's not Bryce Wilson.
Oh,
But I mean, so I'd heard on the radio that was the first game back to the MLB that he pitched like he did in college again. And that was like when he started having more success in AAA this year, is because he just kind of dropped everything that he was told in the minors, and like whoever was trying to develop him at Gwinnett was like told him like, why don't you just try to do what you did in college? And then he had an incredibly low ERA, and then saved that game pretty much and won that game for us in Game 4.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, I'm not gonna rely on him for being a starting pitcher in our rotation next year, but having him as an option alongside Tucker Davidson and Kyle Muller for the 5th spot, you basically have a rotation of like 7 people right now, including Mike Soroka, so 8. And he can be in the mix for that 5th spot as well. But although I would be more comfortable with getting one more solid pitcher in there, which is why, like, right before this episode, there was like some rumors, and well, not rumors, but apparently the Braves have been meeting up with Justin Verlander's agents, which it made me a little happy, mainly about Kate Upton.
Yeah.
We were this close to getting Kate in the seats of Truist.
For real.
But I wasn't like angry or sad except for the Kate thing when the Astros when the Astros re-signed Verlander, because I don't really want to shell out very much money for a starting pitcher this year. If we do, like, and it's someone I like and they're good, like, so be it. But if we do it before we sign our trade deadline guys and Freddie, I'd be a little pissed off. So some guys I was thinking about that are right in that kind of 3 to 5 range, and would be not like they could be 2, or depending on their year they could be a 1, like on any other team, but guys that would really be very strong in that role. I was thinking of like Carlos Rodon at the top of this list, and then like Anthony DeSclafani, Alex Wood, and John Gray from the Rockies.
From the Rockies, yeah, because they're letting him go.
Yeah.
Wow.
Will, what do you think of Rodon, DeSclafani, Wood, John Gray?
Yeah, I think they're good choices. I think Rodon would be sick.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's the one that's like a step above everybody else. But
no, yeah, he's like a 2 or a 1. I mean, he's like around there. But yeah, no, DeSclafani and who are Gray and Wood? Is that correct? Okay, yeah, no, I think they're all pretty solid. I do think like. I don't know. I expect a lot of like the younger pitchers to on the Braves to like take bigger steps. Hopefully they're like improved. I'm not saying they were bad this past year, but like just also like a bit more serviceable or consistent. That's the word I'm looking for. But I do think like, and at least in terms of DeSclafani and Wood's case, I think that's going to be tough to get because I don't know if you all know, but the Giants legitimately have one pitcher on their roster right now, like one starter.
Is it Cueto?
So it's Logan Webb.
Oh.
It's Logan Webb.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Well, that's a pretty good. I would let him pitch every day.
No, yeah, me too. But so they're going to be really busy. But yeah, I think they're good choices.
Thinking of that now and thinking of the young pitchers as well. If you have a lot more confidence in our younger pitchers, I feel like there's some added value to getting somebody like Alex Wood if possible, because he has a lot of experience relieving. So he can start the year as a starting pitcher, and we can still throw him into that role. But then if we have our younger guys come up, you just add a weapon to the bullpen and the starting rotation instead of just losing somebody as a whole or not being able to add those guys or just putting them in the bullpen. Yeah, Rodon, I like even before the World Series started, I saw some people talking about like where he'd end up, and like half of the people or just half of these posts that I would see would put him with the Braves, and I just kept getting really confused and excited. And I know it's not going to happen, but I would.
But one can hope. One can hope.
I just love if that did happen. And then for some reason, I think he's going to be cheap. Like in respect to how good he is. Like not like cheap, but especially in terms of the other ones and twos that are going on the market.
You got to dream sometimes. You got to dream.
Yeah, but I think Desclafani, Wood, and John Gray would all be pretty easy targets. John Gray actually might go for a lot just because.
Yeah, I think he will.
Which I don't really feel like. I think he's going to get overpaid. I think he's a good pitcher, but I feel like some of these names, like Scherzer, Gosman, Rodon, Kershaw, Eduardo Rodriguez is already gone. Ray,
Robbie
Stroman. Once these guys kind of disappear, feel like the teams with a lot more money, like I think the Dodgers might sign Gray.
I mean, the Dodgers are going to sign half the free agents on the market.
Yeah, they already signed Heaney to
which is stupid.
Yeah,
He's not
good. But that's chump change. It was $8 million. That's just chump change to them.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
Yeah, we could sign Fulte back with his negative 1.1 WAR.
Oh.
Or Julio Teheran back with his negative 0.9 WAR.
Oh, God.
I mean, I love that name, but I hate the idea of it.
Yeah.
Fulte, that was a tough one. Because we really just got rid of him all of a sudden, clearly for reasons. But
well, I mean,
yeah,
his fastball dipped like 6 miles.
And he also just looked like terrible.
Yeah, he lost 15 pounds, and he's already skinny.
He looked awful. Like, clearly there was something. I think there might have been something else going on, but don't want to delve into that.
He's got like some mental problems or something, I think. Yeah, I mean, the list of starting pitchers is very enticing at the top, and then doesn't necessarily like just drop off the face of the earth, but there's a significant difference where a lot of these guys could be 3 to 5 because you got Scherzer, Gosman, Rodon, who I am calling a 3 to 5 pitcher. Which on our team, maybe depends on
honestly,
how going. But after and then Rodon and even Kershaw is probably going to be a 3 next year wherever he is. Eduardo Rodriguez
already got signed.
Yeah, Robbie Ray. And then it's like Zach Greinke, who kind of really dipped at the end of the year.
He did.
Marcus Stroman, who had really good parts of the year, but I don't like him for a number of reasons, but I also just I don't feel like he's fantastic. He's also a midget. And then it's like Alex Cobb, Desclafani, Tyler Anderson, John Gray, which is just a significant downturn. So yeah, I feel like John Gray is going to get a lot more money than he really should. But yeah, other than Rodon, if you had to pick of one of these three guys, or either of y'all have any other ideas for starting pitchers?
I'm gonna be honest. I haven't even really thought
I mean-
about certain pitchers. Like mostly just roto guys, but
Yeah.
or
I mentioned him earlier. Mentioned him earlier, but I really do believe in Brett Anderson.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think he. I mean, I had to. We had to play him this year, of course, and he's just a solid pitcher. I mean, he's probably going to be cheaper than if we're thinking realistically, yet also pessimistically. I mean, the Braves are going to shell out a shit ton of money to Freddie Freeman, and I don't know, Discofani just had a career year. John Gray was much better than usual. Alex Wood, I think, is a bit more realistic, but I mean, Brett Anderson, he definitely improved, but I think you could save a ton of money, and it's low risk, high reward type deal.
Yeah. I would not mind signing him. Yeah, I think John Gray honestly might end up being out of our pay grade for what he's worth. Rodon, if we're willing to shell out, if we miss out on one of the key guys, I would want us to get somebody like him. Yeah. Who are your main guys for the bullpen, Sam?
I had Andrew Chafin, Brad Boxberger, and Adam Ottavino, even though he's a little old.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought that was kind of maybe a veteran signing.
Yeah. Yeah, looking at the relievers available, just the top several of these, I feel like we don't have much of a chance with. It's like somebody like Raisel Iglesias.
No chance. No chance.
Kenley Jansen.
Oh, God.
I think he's definitely going back to the Dodgers.
I would not want Kenley Jansen on my team. I would not want him on my team. No, I would not.
Being in LA and being surrounded by Dodgers fans, I've heard just so much shit about this guy.
Dude, he
4-2 lead in the ninth against the Giants.
He was phenomenal, for most of his career, but I don't know. Now I just he's not what he once was,
Well, I mean,
at least I don't think he is.
He kind of figured stuff out towards the end.
Yeah,
I don't think he let up. I think the only run that he gave up to us was an unearned one, because it was a man on base.
Yeah, no, he had a good season. He's just one of those guys where you can kind of tell in the first few pitches how the inning's gonna go.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the best way.
I just hate that.
He's a closer who throws 5 pitches.
Yeah,
which is crazy. I don't really like Brian Tepera. I don't think he's insane. Okay. Who's Colin Mchugh? Will, can you tell me who Colin Mchugh is?
Colin Mchugh?
Yeah. He had a 1.8 WAR. Is the 4th highest of available relievers.
So he's the classic he's the classic Tampa Bay Ray. You don't know him. He's just
that's why.
That's just he's just one of those guys,
okay. I'd take him. Probably. One of the more enticing guys on this list is Aaron Loop. He's just very consistent each year.
He'd be a good one to take from the Mets too.
Yeah, and can we get an interjection and just talk about Noah Syndergaard real quick? That is.
Oh my God! Yeah, I can't believe we haven't talked about that yet.
It's one of the
what?
It's the most Mets deal. It's the most Mets thing to happen. It's also the most Angels thing to happen at the very same time. It's just
literally at the same time.
It's just laughingstock organizations making themselves even more laughstock organizations. He has been a good pitcher. Maybe he'll make me eat my words, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, the way I see it is, I think it's way worse on the Angels than it is on the Mets because they gave him an $18 million qualifying offer, and if he wants more than that, then sure, but to pay someone a 1-year prove-it deal for $21 million is ludicrous.
Yeah.
That is insanity. And
Who
I know
hasn't
that
pitched for 2 years.
literally he's pitched what, like 2 innings in the past 2 years, or like 9 innings in the last 2 years. I know it's single digit, it's ridiculous, but like if he gets hurt or if he isn't good, you just wasted so much money. And I know the Angels have a lot of money to shell out, but holy fuck, that is ridiculous.
It's just what they do. They either they get these huge contracts for like guys that are either just or usually old, or they do these 1-year prove it deals where they just give way too much money.
Yep.
I think like just in my head a random number, like I would have given Syndergaard for what he's done and the amount of time he's been out and his potential and how young he is. I would do like 16 million at the most.
I was gonna say 15. Like, yeah.
21, and it's like the Mets were basically talking about him as being a part of the rotation next year, and I feel like most people were counting on that. It was kind of a shock to see that deal happen.
Yeah, he was the one free agent that like everyone thought was going to sign the qualifying offer.
Yeah,
like it was shocking to see him go somewhere. I mean, that was I think the biggest headline of the week, at least up until this point.
Because it's just, I mean, why would he have figured that he would have gotten more money than that? Like that's insanity. It was an 18 million qualifying offer. Oh my gosh. Like I wouldn't even offer that. I would have just renegotiated something.
Yeah, I mean I will say it's Noah Syndergaard. Like that's a really flashy, good name, and you knew there were teams that were going to be willing to pay a lot of money, but to see it in ink is just I don't know.
It's a tale as old as time. The New York Mets. It's what they do. It's what they do.
It's like you can't even really blame them though, because it's like, how would you have figured someone would have offered more than 18 million for him?
No, the other thing like that really fucked the Mets though is like Marcus Stroman's price just went up because of it. I mean, he's got them in a corner.
Oh my gosh, that's funny. Oh. Anyway, LOLMETS continues.
Yeah, for real.
But I just looked this up. What do you think Aaron Loop got signed for? What would be your guess? He signed for a 1-year deal last year with the Mets.
7.5.
Okay, Sam.
5.
3.
Yeah,
$3 million to have somebody who has a .95 ERA.
He just had a sub-1. It's insane.
With 56 innings pitched. He had 57 strikeouts in 56 innings. His ERA, his ERA plus was 422, and he had a whip of .935 and a FIP at 2.45.
He's insane.
2.5 walks per 9 and 9.1 strikeouts per 9.
Oh my god!
I mean, last year he had a 2.52. He only pitched in it was the COVID season, so I mean he pitched for pretty equivalent amount of time, if not more, because he pitched in 25 innings.
Yeah.
I was wanting to sign him last year, and I was pretty angry when the Mets got him. And honestly, he's a pretty under the radar guy. I felt like that was making me kind of scared of the Mets at the beginning of this year, especially 2022. Not 2022, but 2022.
2020 as well.
Yeah. No. But if we could sneakily sign him, I think his price is going to go up dramatically, considering.
I mean, it definitely will.
He has the 5th highest WAR of any available reliever, or tied for 4th. But and then Andrew Chafin is right behind him, and then another name that we know we could try to pursue is Mark Melanson.
I saw that as well. What are y'all's thoughts on that?
I think he still wants to be the closer role, so
Yeah.
I think it's less likely, even though I'd love him to come back. Just, I mean, and Will Smith is our guaranteed closer for next year, unless he gets beaten out or is his regular season self again. But
fuck, I wanted the Braves to win the World Series and Will Smith to be bad.
Yeah.
So that we consider signing a closer because he was so ass during the. He wasn't like bad during the regular season, but he was so hard to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I love the idea of Mark Melanson, but I don't know if he's also like 37. I'm pretty sure. Like he's definitely
pretty old.
Yeah, he's old. And he already proved last offseason that he didn't want to be on the Braves. So
yeah, I think that had to do with Will Smith being the closer mostly, which I mean is going to be the same thing next year.
yeah.
But yeah, other than the names I already said, it's kind of a crapshoot with relievers as it is every year. But there are a number of names I would definitely not want. I don't really want Ryan Tepera.
Yeah, no.
I don't. I mean, Jansen's not even an option. Iglesias isn't really an option. I don't want Hector Neris. I am very surprised.
Oh, no. Honestly, just on the principle of Philadelphia Phillies alone, I don't want him.
Like he had a 1.3 WAR, which is surprising.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want Brad Hand. I don't know how he had a 1.0 WAR. He was so bad at the end of this year.
He was tough to watch.
Got traded and then cut a month later, and then signed by the Mets and.
Classic.
Yeah. Yimi Garcia would be nice. I don't know who Evan Marshall is. Oh, we do need to try to re-sign Chris Martin or get the arbitration settled with him. In my head, as long as it's not too high.
I don't know how I feel about Chris Martin. Honestly, I put together a list of people I wanted to re-sign and release, and he was pretty high on the release. Yeah, I just think like he's great and we all love him, but I don't know. Unless we can get him for very cheap, there's hesitation on my end.
I don't think he'll be super expensive.
Yeah.
But one name I want to talk about a little bit, just because if he ends up getting signed by somebody and then ends up being really good, I want to have validation. But
you want the screenshots?
I remember watching us play the Pirates. Again, I mentioned his name a little earlier, but watching one of our games against them, and he came up and just destroyed us. And he had a disgusting movement on his pitches. And I saw him as a trade target last year, but his name didn't show up anywhere, which kind of surprised me, and he didn't end up moving anywhere. He ended last year with a 4.44, which obviously isn't great, but he only played in 27 games, pitched 24 innings, which the year before, he only had a sample size of 7 games for the Pirates, but he had a 1.59. In 2018, he had a 2.39 in 64 games pitched. And he doesn't necessarily.
Who is this again?
This is Kyle Crick.
Oh yeah, okay.
I guess you've seen him a lot more than we have, being in the Central.
Yeah.
So this past year, he had a 4.44, but I was looking at his game logs, and there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's only 6 out of the 27 games that he played where he gave up an earned run And 3 of those games were 2 runs, 2 were 1 run, and then 1 was 4. And the one team that scored 4 on him was the Braves. So, which he also pitched against the Braves, where he went 1 inning, 2 hits, 1 strikeout, no runs. But I don't know, I just feel like his stuff is pretty nasty, and I think we could get him on a minor league contract for very cheap. Kind of do like a Nate Jones situation last year, but not end up like Nate Jones.
But not be Nate Jones whatsoever.
Just not be named Nate Jones.
Good
Fuck
Lord.
Nate Jones.
Fuck that guy.
Yeah. Man, he just shows how good he can be. I mean, okay, this is just like a continuing thing in the MLB. Obviously, if you're in the MLB, there's not going to be like, oh man, he just plain sucks, and then sticks around years and years, and like people keep signing him. Nate Jones was disgusting at one point in his career. And he shows it sometimes, and then he just, it's so frustrating. He just loses everything. But yeah. That's my dark horse. Wherever he ends up going, he's gonna be good. If he isn't, then I don't know. I'll shove this piece of paper right up my butt. I don't know. It's the only thing I can do. Any other thoughts on any other relievers potentially?
Nothing comes to mind. I mean, there's so many. Like, I hope we sign 1 or 2 that are good in the end.
I'd agree. All right, let's move on to the top 10 free agents, where we think they're going, just for funsies. People already been moved at this point. I mean, Will, do you know who Joely Rodriguez is? Is that how you say his name? Holy.
Who's he play for?
He got signed by the Yankees, apparently.
Oh,
he had
I don't know who that is.
Joely. Good.
Jolene.
Holy.
There are so many names in the sport. It's hard to keep up with.
He pitched for the Rangers. That's why.
Yeah, I do not know who that is.
The most forgettable team in sports. Not baseball, sports.
Maybe. Yeah.
Arizona Coyotes have a good shot at that. They have a great shot at that.
They're going to run for it.
I was thinking of Arizona teams. Oh, Florida Panthers. What about them?
That's another good one.
Every time I see their logo, I feel like they're a European team.
Arizona Coyotes are like the Delaware of sports. That's what they are. It just literally brings nothing to the table.
Yeah. God, there's some people that have been signed. Like Julius Chassin already got a deal. It was with the Rockies, but Verlander's been signed, Syndergaard's been signed. Heaney, Eduardo Rodriguez is a considerable one. Brandon Belt accepted his qualifying offer today.
He accepted his QL today. So he's staying his $18 million.
Dang.
Yeah.
I mean, I would take that if I were him, being his age.
Yeah.
Well, he's 34 still.
But still.
But yeah, so top 10 we're taking from a top 25 list from the MLB website. So it's Correa, Seager, Bryant, Scherzer, Story, Simeon, Ray, Baez, Freeman, Gossman. You want to just go person by person, and then we'll just read out our list as a whole, and then go person by person after that?
Yeah, I'm down for that.
All right, Sam, you got it.
All right, yeah, for sure. Okay, so for Correa, I have him going to the Tigers. I think that's kind of like the general consensus, but that's what I have as well. Seager is going to go to the Yankees. Chris Bryant, I could see staying with the Giants or going to the Mets. Scherzer is going to go to the Dodgers. I think they're going to keep him. Story, I think, is going to reunite with Arenado in St. Louis with the Cardinals. Marcus Semien, I think, is going to stay with the Jays or go to the Giants. Robbie Ray's going to go to the West Coast. I think it's going to be either Angels or Dodgers. Javi's going to stay with the Mets. Freddie's going to stay with the Braves, and Kevin Gausman's going to stay with the Giants.
All right, Will.
Yeah, I agree with Correa. He's good. I really think he's going to go to the Tigers. Seager's going to go to the Yankees. Bryant is going to stay with the Giants. And then I honestly think Scherzer is going to go to the Giants. I think Trevor Story is going to go to the New York Mets. Simeon, I think, is going to go to the Seattle Mariners. Robbie Ray stays with the Blue Jays. This one I really liked. As soon as I thought of it, I was like, I have to put this down. I think Javier Baez is going to the Philadelphia Phillies.
God, please.
And then Freddie's staying with Atlanta. And then I think Kevin Gausman is going to go to the Boston Red Sox.
Okay.
All right. I'll explain myself after.
That's a great way to start.
So I also had Correa going to the Tigers, and then I have Seager going to the Rangers, Bryant going to the Mariners, Scherzer going to the Angels, Story going to the Yankees, Simeon to the Astros, Ray to the Blue Jays, Baez to the Mets, Freeman to the Braves, and Gausman to the Giants.
Okay.
Will, why are you smiling like that?
I'm still laughing about the Phillies and Baez thing. It's so funny.
Just pass the cancer to another team in our division too. Like, hopefully he doesn't end up spreading to us. But you know, I'd make him a bench bat.
God.
All right, so we all did the same for Correa. This I mean, yeah, this is basically the only thing I've seen other than maybe the Astros, and people had linked him with the Yankees, but I mean, he just said Derek Jeter didn't deserve the Gold Gloves that he got. So he just went like to all the Yankees fans. Like,
maybe not the best move on his end. Like, that is such an absurd thing to say in free agency.
Yeah, I mean, if he gets signed by the Yankees, they're gonna boo him like all the time, regardless of how well he does. So I think he was just trying to start beef and already like saying, yeah, I'm not going to the Yankees. But yeah, I hate him.
Yeah, crazy stuff. He's such a weird. He's such a weirdo too. He's just like a weird person.
Yeah, his wife is incredibly attractive.
Of course, yeah.
But I saw her Instagram one day, just like in the Explorer, and like more than half of her posts now are just him like cradled up against her stomach for like because she's pregnant.
Oh,
it's like
yeah, he's weird. Like he's a weird.
Yeah, it's like, okay, you have a baby, shut up. Like,
yeah,
stop.
No one cares. Shut the fuck up.
But yeah, I was. Do the Tigers have money for this?
Yeah.
I mean, evidently, that's kind of what. Yeah.
It shocked me when I started seeing this like over and over again. But I mean,
they have like no money on. They have no money on the books.
Really?
And like I think he's gonna get 10 years, $300 million easy.
Good grief. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean it's gonna be a reunion with Hinch too, right?
Yeah. They're also just like they remind me a lot of the Astros, like before the cheating and everything. Like they have so much good young talent. They're gonna be so flipping good.
Yeah, they'll find some way though, because they're the Tigers. To just kind of screw it up. You seen that like the picture of their starting rotation from like it's like 2011 or something. And Verlander, Scherzer, Anibal Sanchez, Drew Smyly, and Rick Porcello. And it was like all of these guys have a World Series ring now, and none of them were with the Tigers.
It's honestly insane how they just disbanded like that. They also had Robbie Ray. They also had Robbie Ray who just won the AL Cy Young.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess they kind of turned on the Jets in the second half of the season. I think they had the most home runs of any team in the second half, and they were doing pretty good. They finished. Did they finish over 500?
I don't
Just
think so.
under.
Just
Just
under.
under.
Tigers.
Like 78 wins or something.
Yeah, so that's respectable. They're also one of those teams I like kind of want to see do well. I don't want to see Correa do well, but I want to see the Detroit Tigers do well.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree. They got some cool players on their team, like Badu.
Yeah. He had an insane debut, right?
Yeah, I think he
He got like a home run or something.
He did stuff. He did some stuff out there doing stuff. 77-85.
Yeah.
They tailed off a little at the end, but yeah. So we're all in agreement on that one. Not Kyle. Corey Seager. So where
I think
you had
Yankees are.
y'all both
We
had
both
Yankees.
have Yankees.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty self-explanatory. I mean,
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I get these pictures in my head. This is what I at least explained to my psychiatrist. But I get these pictures in my head, and it's like I really hate it. But I just keep seeing Trevor Story in a Yankees uniform.
Oh God, don't do that.
I just feel like he fits in there. I mean, Seager's gonna fit in wherever he goes because he's ridiculously good. But yeah, I saw some people link him with the Rangers, and I just don't know where else he'd really go. I mean, I guess the Cardinals maybe, but I don't think they have the money for him. So I'm thinking Rangers, who I don't think are ready to sign him, but I don't know where else I'd put him. Maybe the Dodgers still, but they have Trey Turner, and they want to get Gavin Lux at second because they don't like him at center.
We saw how that worked out.
Yeah. But yeah, I would say Yankees other than that. I mean, they probably will end up getting him, but I just, like I said, still have that image in my head.
did we all say Giants for Bryant?
No.
I said Mets or Giants.
I said Mariners or Giants.
I'd like to see him on the
Mets.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Mariners, and I think they move for Bryant before they do for Simeon, just because of how versatile Bryant is. But I think if they can't get him for what they want, then they try Simeon after.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I mostly say, Giants is kind of like a stay where you're traded, but also I think with the Mets, Steve Cohen, their owner, loves paying a lot of money for players and is like willing to pay a lot of money for players,
except for
Syndergaard, clearly. And Chris Bryant kind of feels like a flashy, get him while you can type of guy. But then again, I mean, free agency is such a crapshoot. He could end up literally so many different places. So
I also kind of thought about the Brewers for him.
I can't commit to things, so that's what.
Yeah, I thought Mariners or Giants. I think the Mariners are going to try to get one big position player since they showed they're kind of on the cusp of being competitive. If not them, then I think the Giants will do it. But also maybe because he's so versatile. I think he's versatile in the free agent market too. I think Mets isn't unreasonable, and if the Brewers scrounge up enough money, I feel like they'd potentially be candidates because they're losing some versatile guys as well. Yeah, Scherzer. What'd y'all have?
I had Giants.
Giants, and you had Dodgers.
You had Angels, right?
Yeah, I had Angels. I think this is the Angels have already done their 1 year for way too much money for someone who hasn't pitched in 2 years. So I think they're going to do their let's give Max Scherzer a 6-year contract while he is
even though he's
37. Let's give him a 6-year contract.
I think in terms of the Giants, I mean, I mentioned it earlier, but they have like Logan Webb and that's it.
Yeah.
So they have so much money to spend too, and like, I mean, it's hard to ignore the fact that their like roster is really, really, really old, and so like I don't see what the issue is with them just going out there and getting another old guy because I mean, like it's gonna close soon,
Yeah.
or at least soonish because I mean they do have a great farm system, but
I feel like he's
also
gonna
just
want
see
a
him in the
couple.
orange and black.
Yeah, I feel like
What?
he's gonna want a couple of years though, and I don't know if they're
I
gonna be able to
think
offer him
like
that.
2 or 3. I mean, I think they could.
And then I just have Yankees because money, pretty much, and they're gonna sign one big pitcher. I feel like they might end up signing Gossman now that I think of it too. Trevor Story, I had Yankees just because I think that they're not able to get Seager, or they should be able to get Seager, but again, I just see Story in a Yankees uniform.
I had Mets. He just looks like a Met to me, frankly, and I also think they realized their what the problem with Javier Baez. So I think they're going to move on from Javi.
I don't think Lindor is going to let him move on from Javi.
I was gonna say I think they're.
I could see that too, but you also you got to realize you're dealing with the New York Mets, so anything can happen.
I
Anything
think they signed him
can
to a
happen.
huge contract, way more than.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll sign Story and Baez, and then like move one of them to third base or some stupid shit.
Listen, I'm sorry, Baez just fits in the candy cane uniforms of Philadelphia. He just fits.
No, Lord.
But yeah, and then you had Cardinals with him.
Yeah, I had Cardinals. It's one of those signings you close your eyes and that's just where you see him. I think he's going to reunite with Arenado, but
I could see that too.
Likelihood, not great, but that's just my intuition.
Yeah, I just don't think they'll have the money available. Yeah. Simeon, I don't want him to go here at all. I really love Marcus Simeon. I do not want to see him in an Astros uniform, but I feel like that one makes the most sense, especially with them losing Carlos Correa, and Simeon's going to be way less expensive than Correa for someone who's basically giving you the same, or if not more value. And then if the Mariners can't get Bryant, or if they just pursue Simeon, I think he could also very well go to the Mariners, and that's where I'd love him to go.
Yeah. For Simeon, I think I read something that he either wants to stay with the Jays or go to the West Coast. So I don't know. I could see him going to the Giants, but I feel like he's going to stay at the Jays. Like I think he's beloved there. So, and he kind of proved it this year. So that's where I'm at.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also similar, Robbie Ray. I guess he's also the big Blue Jays free agent. I think he's going to go West Coast as well. Probably the Angels or the Dodgers, whichever one pays more, because they're both willing to pay a lot of money for starting pitching.
Yeah.
So
the Giants might get him too.
Yeah, there's a chance.
Will, who'd you have for Simeon?
I had the Mariners. Okay. Pretty much the same reasons we've said before. And then in terms of Robbie Ray, I think he's going to stay with the Blue Jays. They don't really have much pitching. Like they have Nate Pearson in the minors, but they gave up Simeon Woods. They have him too, yeah.
Agent, actually.
Oh well. So I think they need him a little bit more. He's going to be expensive too, because I mean he just won the Cy Young, so his price just went up.
Yeah. They also did re-sign Barrios recently.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Sam, you give us your reasons real quick before you leave for.
Yeah, sorry, I got a friend's 21st that's starting in 4 minutes. I think that Javi is going to stay with the Mets. I mean, there have already been rumors and talks that they're working on a deal, and my brother, he's a massive delusional Mets fan, also seems to think that they're going to re-sign him and likes the re-signing for whatever reason. I like the re-signing because. I mean, like he's just gonna pipe bomb that entire organization. But and then Freddie, obviously, he's gonna stay with the Braves. shocked, mortified. I'd probably puke and cry if he got signed anywhere else, but we're going to give him a blank check. And then KG is going to stay with the Giants. They just need pitching, and they're going to spend money on it, and he's proven that he's very valuable there. So that's my rounding it out.
All right.
I'm gonna hop off a little early, but
Yeah, I'll see you next time. Will, you're staying here. You're not going anywhere. give me like 3 minutes.
chop off.